fatal heart impacts, past painful scars. In fact, I blast tasteful bars and pass. I back up my actions, fact don't ask, grab reactions, jacked attack with every word, then act with class as they hear me snap. I got nothing to lose, cause I fought and felt the bruise. Now I'm not the one confused, call the shots and they produce. I ain't lost, I'm finally loose, pick a new silver excuse. I need the views to boost me to a new abuse of being used. Everybody wants a piece now, y'all can rest in peace now. You're dead to me, so peace out. Remember, you're discreet now. Get ready for defeat now.
Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is Kiru's show here. And now, whenever we last left off with this series, we had Izuku, along with Bella and Lee, who they both did just, or all three of them, they did just clear a dungeon, retrieving the item that was believed to be held here, and then heading back. Midoriya, he was in an intense battle with a giant monster, where he was able to defeat it after using a new specialized skill that he has not yet tested. This being the third unique skill he got from the Sword of the Demon Follower, or Sword of the Demon Lord followers. Now, with that being said, we did then have where the three, they did head back towards the guild hall, turning this item, and we do actually pick up with Dorozaya sitting down and drinking something to help recover his mana. Now, Midoriya, he is sitting there, and he is trying to think. Okay, so that was a pretty good fight. However, he was outclassed there. He got lucky that he had that skill. He will admit, the thing put up a tough fight. And Midoriya, he probably would have been able to kill it, but at the same time, it probably would have been able to kill him. Midoriya, thinking about what that conversation would be like in the afterlife. Oh, you're back. Let me just look over. Oh god. Yeah, that would not be fun. Now, Midoriya, he does wonder though, if he'd be able to at least go back there one day and head to another world. But he'd rather not test that theory. So he'll just stick to this one. Now, Midoriya, he does also then at least start to fumble around with the weird ring he does have in his hand. They got this item from that dungeon, and Midoriya, he does at least want to know what it does do. Him asking his system what this ring does. As he does look at it, and he does get at least 5 points of experience for his new discovery. As he does then get informed by his system that this is a ring of damage resistance, or magical resistance. This ring, this item in particular, will increase your resistances. Along with that, it will also nullify 1/4 of the attack potency that you are being hit with. Yes, this item basically means if you were hit with 100 points of magical damage, you would only take 75. Really? That's interesting. Now, Roy, he does slip the ring onto his finger, as he does look at the strange runes that are carved on it. It looks stupid. It looks fancy though, and they provide no tactical advantage in an actual fight. But they're useful. Now, with that being said, Midoriya, he does want to at least pour more and more points into his strength, dexterity, and combat proficiencies. However, he does go to look over at his strength bar and see exactly how high this thing is. And then there are other skills Midoriya, he has not checked into. Now, Midoriya, he does look at his intelligence skill. Okay, so he's guessing that that's the intelligence for this world. The knowledge he has on it, it's very shitty. Along with that, there's the fact that he can't read or write at all. So, Midoriya deciding to at least check a few points into this skill before he does turn his head and look at the guild wall. As he does look at it, he does at least look closer and inspect it. He can make out what a few of those letters do mean, and he does actually find that surprising. Cool. So that's why I couldn't read anything. What are you just thinking? He could increase his knowledge, or at least perception, and learn the old-fashioned way like that. Study and all that BS. However, he doesn't want to do that. Midoriya pouring at least 50 points into this skill, and it's close to, or at least on the same par, as where Midoriya's intelligence would be on canon. Or at least, let's just say Midoriya is at least able to start reading and writing now. Along with that, he's starting to at least think about more and more things other than combat. Now, Midoriya, he does actually feel that his head does feel clearer, and he doesn't seem as confused. Now, Midoriya, he does go to stand up, as he does finish off his drink, him setting it down before going to walk over towards the guild wall. Now, you do actually have Lee and Bella who do come running up to see Dorzaya. Since, well, yeah, they just collected the reward and the place was currently out of gold. Now, this is where Midoriya, he actually does start to read certain things off of the wall, as Lee and Bella do walk up and hear Midoriya reading. Let's see. Clear out. Midoriya is saying the name of a magical creature. Let's just say a Virizella plant. And I just made that up on the spot. If it means anything, I don't know. And let's say a something other than like, it's like a bear, but it's like got biceps or something like that. I don't know. Now, he also does then continue to look down the wall as he does read another thing. Protect the canal from attack. Clear out bandits from this area. And Midoriya, he does then look down to read the rewards on a few of these things. As he does then look over to his left to see both Belle and Lee. Sir, are you reading? Yeah. When did you learn? I thought you couldn't. I'm a man of many talents. I've told both of you. I just gave it a shot. Midoriya clearly lying. Now, both of them are still surprised, however. He's reading. Midoriya, his attention then being pointed, or at least thrown away, whenever Bella, she does look at the wall and immediately point out to something. Midoriya, looking at it, does say 500 gold. As Midoriya, he does read the paper. A fighting tournament? Okay, that sounds pretty interesting. Now, Midoriya, he does go to grab the paper off of the wall as somebody behind the guild desk does immediately ask Midoriya to take his hands off of that and to please post that again. We're being paid to keep that up. In fact, the entire thing about that is somebody came in here earlier this morning to put that up. It's a fighting tournament held in the royal capital. It's going to be taking place, well, next month, and we can't allow you to take that down. Alright, what are you to say? Him looking at it more. Participants, they are required to bring their own gear. And magical weapons, along with even items, can be used. However, killing is not permitted within this tournament. Now, Midoriya, he is very surprised by that. You think that this nation would allow it with the fact that they allow other things that would be unsightly. Now, Midoriya would leave the guild hall, as the two they do follow him. Now, the fighting tournament is next month, and you do have the fact that it will take them about 2 weeks to head to this town. Now, with that being said, This is where Midoriya and all of them, they do pack up everything, get in the carriage, and leave. As we do have just outside of town, where Izuku and these two are. Belle, she is currently sitting in the front with Lee. And Lee, she is driving. Now, we do then have Midoriya, who he actually is holding onto a book. He's never really seen much use in one of these things other than throwing it. However, now he's actually starting to think. There's a lot of shit he's done. And it's all pretty bad. However, it does make sense. Let's see. The royal capital. If he's right and demi-humans they are persecuting this nation, or at least looked down upon, if him and Lee, they do fight and participate, what's going to happen? Either they're ridiculed and thrown out of the tournament and they can't win, in which case Midoriya he can just start to wreck the entire capital and go on a one-man killing spree. That's a thing he can do. Then again, there's also the fact that there's, well, higher level people at the capital he's guessing. They need strength to protect their king. And Midoriya he does find this all to be quite interesting. So, along with that, there's also option B. They fight, and they're able to win. Or they lose. That could be cool. Midoriya he will at least know where he stands when it comes to technique, strategy, and his level. And there is option 3. Which Midoriya he's at least trying to guess. They encounter some pretty strong people here. And Midoriya, he at least has to deal with more and more annoyances that do at least follow him around like lost puppies. Midoriya looking behind him to where Lee and Belle are, thinking that at least he likes puppies, so it's nice and fine. I feel like I'm going soft here. Now, you do actually have where Midoriya he does continue to think about the entire situation, as he does hold this book and read it. Now, you do have where Midoriya he does actually then go to slam his book closed and go to stand back up, informing Belle to pull off of the road here. But we just started our journey. I know. But there's people coming. But I'm guessing they know about us. They know that we just collected some nice, fine, and heavy gold and silver from the guild. So they're bandits. Really? Yeah, it makes sense. A lot of people were giving me glares back at the guild hall. They will probably want to kill me. They know I'm exhausted after a long quest. Now, Midoriya he actually would ask Lee to hand him a potion. Her telling Midoriya that it's actually back there. He just has to open up her then explaining it to Midoriya that he just has to look through this box and he'll find one. Midoriya looking as he does reach down and pull out a mana potion, along with at least something that Midoriya he would possibly need. Now, Midoriya he does drink the mana potion and then look at this other potion. Interesting. Now, Midoriya does ask Lee if this is the right one. Her informing Midoriya that no it isn't, she hasn't made that yet. And Midoriya he does sigh. Him setting it down before just stepping out of the carriage. Now, you do have where at least 20 men on horses do come running up to Midoriya, as they do all see him standing there with just his hand outstretched. Many of them looking at each other, and they all do seem nervous. However, they know for a fact that this has got to be a bluff. That guy, yeah. They heard what he did. He cleared that level 5 quest, and he was, or at least is, barely under 30. So, that must have at least drained him for the day. He still needs to recover his, all of them charging forwards, as he does go to, at least, throw his hand downwards, thinking that at least the bluff didn't work. as he does go to reach down for his sword and throw it outwards in front of him. Midoriya slashing to his left before swinging it aroundwards and then slashing from his left to his right. Now, Midoriya he does a double sword slash, as both these immense blades, they do both, or blades of air, they are shot out and slice through the men and their horses. And Midoriya does then go to at least put the cherry on top, casting Fireball to burn any who are still alive. As he does walk back to the carriage, hop onto the back of it, and then at least tell them to leave. As they do so, Midoriya does go to lay backwards as his feet do dangle off of the back of the carriage. Ah, so many pests. Okay. Looks like he's taking guard duty. Or at least playing guard. Now, the three, they do travel for a few hours. Until it's eventually nighttime, and they do at least need to let the horse rest. Now, the three, they do make camp. And they do go through the routine. They try and have a peaceful journey. However, it keeps getting ruined by magical creatures, bandits, and that's probably about it. Eventually, they do make it to the magical capital, or the nation capital, where Midoriya is curious. That sword he's heard so much about. The one that he believed he wields, people thought was the Demon Lord's sword, but it's not. It's kind of stupid. But at the same time, he's also curious if it actually does at least exist. Now, Midoriya, he would tell them all to go check out, or at least check in an inn, and he'll find up and meet up with him later, explaining to meet him at this location in the city. As Midoriya does start to walk through it. Now, Midoriya is very surprised. There are a lot of people here, walking through the streets and just living their lives. Midoriya is seeing peaceful people, as he does just think. These people have no idea what it's actually like out there, do they? They're safe inside the capital walls. And it kind of does annoy him. If he probably spawned here, things could have been different, but he doesn't really care anymore. Him heading to this church, where believers, they are praying. And you do have Midoriya, he does walk up, and he does encounter a guard. The guard asking Midoriya exactly what is he here for. I came here to inspect this blade I've heard so much about. I'm sorry, sir, but we can't allow that to happen. Midoriya, him looking over his shoulder to see if anyone is staring at him. Everyone is. Midoriya, him actually going to grab his cloak and then at least hold it up and outwards. The guy, him staring at Midoriya as he does look down and inspect what's currently on his waist. That's a sword. Yes, sir, I see that. The guy confused Midoriya does explain, take a closer look. As Midoriya does go to reach down at his blade and then he does slowly pull it free. The guy looking at it closer as his eyes do widen. And you do then actually have where the man, he does go to turn around and directly open the door. As Midoriya does walk in, the believers, they all are surprised. As the guard, he does spin around and instruct everyone to please continue praying. Now, Midoriya does walk into this holy building, and he can at least feel strange mana in the air. Him walking forwards, as you do then have the clerics, and at least a high priest, who is here. Now, Midoriya, he does see a few of them. And you do actually have where the high priest, or the head of the church, he does turn around and see Midoriya. As his eyes, they do somewhat widen. Him, confused as to why a dirty adventurer in skins and a cloak is in the house of God. This man seems to be very poor. How may I help you today, sir? Hi, I was curious to see this weapon I've heard so much about. I'm sorry, but people do not have access to it. The weapon, it's a very dangerous magical item. I understand that. What I would say, him putting his hand underneath his cloak, and then slamming something down directly in front of the man. The man looking down towards the ground as he does see it. A pouch full of 100 gold coins. And he just does stare back up at Midoriya. What is this? A donation. I would like to see this weapon. Now, people do stare at this man. He's got conviction. He wants to see what they know as the Blade of Darkness. And Midoriya, he does then see the man look at a bunch of people around. Midoriya, watching the guy, as he does go to bend down, and people they do actually stop him. As you do then have where somebody does come walking up and pick it up for the man. This place is clean. However, they would rather not see the bishop touch the floor, or at least the high priest. Now, the man, he does inform Midoriya that he can show him this weapon or artifact. However, he is not allowed to. Midoriya instructing the man that he knows the procedure. Now, the man, he does then take Midoriya. As the two they do turn around and walk through the door. Midoriya, watching as it does, lead to a staircase. And the two they do begin to start their descent. The man asking Midoriya exactly what he's doing inside the city. I'm here for a fighting tournament that takes place in 2 weeks. I see. Well, that is very good. The man sounding nervous. As they do then, after heading about down 4 flights of stairs, they do start to approach what appears to be at least barren land. And Midoriya, he does look around the room. He knows that it's being lit with magic. He can feel it. However, there's also another presence in this room. As Midoriya, he does look at the weapon that's currently sitting down inside of a pedestal. And he does stare at it directly. Interesting. Yes, I'm sorry. This is as far as I'm allowed to take you. I'm very much apologize. I understand that you have... Now, what do I need to say? Him walking forwards and inspecting the pedestal. They clearly chiseled the rock it's buried in and found at least a spot where they can't do it anymore. The rock is very, bad looking. It looks like you tried to sharpen it with a chainsaw if you had to put it into words, since the stone isn't smooth. I see. I'm sorry? It looks exactly like my own. You understand that's not the demon's sword, right? I'm sorry, your own? Yes, but I would say. Him going to at least bring up his cloak and show the man his weapon, informing him that these swords, as he does so put it, they're not swords of the Demon Lord. He took this one roughly a month back, and no effects have happened to him. He's been using it as a regular blade. However, they do hold some form of power. Now, the man, he does look at Midoriya. Him, his eyes being struck with fear, as he does inform Midoriya that he is, a Demon Lord, is he not? No, I'm not. Listen. I do want to collect these blades. I'm curious. I understand that there's one in a lot of places. And you guys pray, as you so put it, to stop him from coming up from hell, or whatever he comes from. However, I don't believe that superstition. What I would say. Him walking forwards as the man does inform Midoriya to stop. Midoriya, ignoring him, he does reach over and grab the hilt of the blade. Now, the man has heard the stories. If he's correct, Midoriya is going to have his soul ripped out and sacrificed to the Lord of the Underworld. And his body will wither away into dust in a matter of seconds. Now, Midoriya he does then rip the sword free of the stone. And the man he does watch Midoriya do this. As you do actually then have where the blade, it does turn bright red and begin to start producing light. The man he's frozen in shock. As you do that actually have the one in Midoriya's waist, that is also glowing. Midoriya, holding this sword in one hand, he does pull out his other sword. As he does then look at them both. That's quite interesting. Now, as Midoriya he does think this, he does actually find they're getting harder and harder to hold. As he does go to try and put one away, he does find that the tips of the blades touch. Or the blades do at least touch, and a bright light does shine. Now, as this does happen, his two blades, they do form into one. Midoriya holding it, he does actually see that the blade, it is longer. Along with that, it is a bit thicker and slightly heavier. What the hell? Midoriya says looking at the blade. As the man he is standing there in shock, asking Midoriya what dark magic he has just produced. I don't know what happened. However, I do understand one thing. Midoriya turning to the man and saying that he is going to participate in that tournament. And he's going to use his new weapon. You can't possibly do that. Please. Midoriya turning around and saying that if he's going to kill a demon lord, or at least face off against one of them one day, he needs a weapon made by the demon lord. The man staring at Midoriya as he does walk away. Him dropping to his knees and praising Midoriya as a hero. Now, the man he does continue to pray. As Midoriya he does make his way back up the stairs and leave. Now, the man he does know that there is only two things of the legend he can recite from his gospel. The demon lords. They are a very feared and powerful species, or an evolution. And they are not to be trifled with or taken lightly. The process of becoming a demon lord is unknown to anyone but them. And these weapons that were passed down by demon lords, they carry fractions of power, or at least abilities people find to be disturbing or unique. Now, he believes that Midoriya must be the hero, since no normal human can wield them. Any normal human, they have their soul ripped from their body and it does rot away immediately. The skin gets flayed backwards and immediately turns to dust. And then your muscles, they rip apart and they fall towards the ground as they rot away, producing a smell so toxic it can make anyone vomit. And then your bones, they crumple like glass. Now, the fact that Midoriya he's wielded one already, let alone two, it means that he must be here to protect this world. Now, Midoriya would walk out of the church, and eventually meet up with his allies. As he does, here his abilities have increased. Along with that, his skill proficiencies, or at least his unique skills, have also gained more power. Now, with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed. Have an amazing day. I'll catch you guys in the next part.